Proverbs 14:12 says this: "There is a way which seems right to a man, but its way or its end is the way of death." And so what makes this important or applicable today is that this is what makes a false gospel dangerous. It affirms scripture selectively, right? Picking and choosing which verses apply and which ones don't. It feels spiritually serious. It appeals to things like safety and control and even belonging. It reduces tension with culture and religion. But here's what we know is that it feels responsible, right? Like if you only hear the gospel that many of the churches are sharing today, it actually sounds really good until you hear the other side. And that's why discernment matters, because if the truth were always obvious, Paul wouldn't be giving warnings and they wouldn't be necessary for the church. It seems to be ridiculous to me. And maybe that's why Paul uses the term, "Oh, you foolish Galatians, how quickly you turned." But what caused the abandonment, right? What the desertment, or the desertion? Because desertion is a military term, right? Like if I were in an army and I decided not to do the work of the military, I would desert my post. So let's look at Exodus 32:8. And here we see another example of turning aside. It says, "They have quickly turned aside from the way which I commanded them. They have made for themselves a molten calf and have worshipped it, and have sacrificed to it, and said, 'These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up from the land of Egypt.'" Now, think about what's going on here. Paul is literally taking us back in his mind through his words, this desertion process. We can now go back to the days of Moses. And what we know is that Moses was used by God to set Israel free from bondage in Egypt. They were delivered, they were saved, and now they were being sanctified. And in their impatience, Moses gets called up to the mountaintop to go visit face to face with the Lord. And he's gone beyond their expectation. He's gone a little too long for their comfort. So what do? Well, they revert back to the way that they had worshipped previously. I don't think they were trying to worship false idols. I think they were trying to worship God the way the world did, right? And so what we see here is this pressure to belong, not just in a religious aspect, but socially, right? This broken people without a leader in their presence, they had this pressure. The loud voices grew. There was this fear of exclusion.